The room was large and cold, with walls that seemed to glow faintly from an unknown light. Humans had never seen anything like it. Captain Lucas Ward stepped carefully, his boots echoing on the smooth floor. Beside him, diplomat Claire Morgan held her tablet close. She felt tense but tried to hide it. Both of them had trained for months for this moment, but nothing could fully prepare them for the sight of the Galactic Council. The council members were taller than humans, with long limbs and faces that were hard to read. Their skin shimmered in colors that changed slowly, as if reflecting the emotions of the room. They sat on high platforms, looking down on the humans. Lucas felt a flicker of irritation. He did not like being treated as small or unimportant. He straightened his shoulders and reminded himself to stay calm. "You are here," said a voice that sounded like many voices at once. It came from the council speaker, not from any one member. "You are a young species, and yet you travel so far. Tell us, human delegation, why do you come?" Claire stepped forward, holding her voice steady. "We come to learn, to meet the council, and to represent Earth," she said. "We seek friendship and cooperation, as we have always sought in the galaxy." A ripple ran through the council members. Lucas noticed the change. Some leaned closer to each other, whispering in their strange language. Others stared at the humans with expressions that could have been amusement or disbelief. Lucas knew the council expected fear. Many species in the galaxy obeyed the council without question. They would have bowed, handed over their technology, and promised loyalty. But Lucas had read the reports about humanity. Humans were not afraid of threats. Fear did not guide them. Only courage and choice did. A council member with long, thin fingers and pale green skin spoke. "You are small and weak compared to the powers of the galaxy," it said. "We do not understand why you come here. Do you wish to serve us? Do you wish to obey?" Claire paused, considering her words. She knew the council would not accept a normal answer. She had prepared for many questions, but this one was more dangerous than the simulations had suggested. "Earth does not serve others," she said carefully. "Humans value freedom above all else. We come to join the galaxy, but not to be commanded. We will work with others, but we will not surrender our rights or our future." The chamber went silent. Lucas could feel the shock in the room. The council members had expected obedience. They had expected humans to bow, to plead, to promise loyalty. Instead, they were met with calm refusal. Some council members' skin darkened, a sign of anger in their species. Others leaned back, blinking slowly, trying to understand what had just been said. "You speak boldly for your kind," said another voice, sharper and colder. "Do you not know the rules of the galaxy? Those who refuse the council are punished. Your technology, your ships, your colonies, everything could be taken. Do you wish to challenge the council?" Lucas stepped forward slightly. His voice was firm. "We do not wish for war. We do not wish to challenge the galaxy needlessly, but we will not surrender our people or our home. We have defended our planet and our colonies from threats greater than any you have sent. We will defend them again if necessary." The council members shifted uncomfortably. Lucas noticed some were exchanging glances, as if communicating silently. Humans had no ability to understand their language fully, but the tension was clear. The council had never met a species that spoke with such confidence. Most younger species were polite, frightened, or begging. Humans were neither. Humans were standing tall. One of the council members floated slightly above the platform, as if hovering without effort. "You are young, and yet you speak with the voice of experience," it said. "Do you believe you can resist the authority of the council? Many have tried, and all have failed. Why should we believe that humans are different?" Claire looked at Lucas. He nodded slightly, encouraging her to speak. She raised her voice, keeping it calm. "Because humans choose their own path. We have faced threats from other humans, from nature, and from the universe itself. Each time, we survived. We grew stronger, not weaker. We do not bow to power just because it is older or larger. We bow only to reason, fairness, and respect. That is why we are different." A murmur went through the council members. Lucas saw some of them lean back, their hands trembling slightly. The room had an air of disbelief. No species had ever spoken to the council this way. The Council controlled fleets, planets, and resources across hundreds of systems. They expected fear and obedience. Humanity had given neither. Suddenly, a sound came from outside the chamber. Ships were moving in the orbit above. The Council's observers had already seen them, of course. But now their attention turned fully to the humans' fleet. Lucas had prepared for this moment for years. Earth's fleet was smaller than the Council's, but they were ready. Commander Riley Carter had organized the ships with skill and precision. Each vessel was equipped with defenses, weapons, and crew who had trained their whole lives for this encounter. "Your human ships," said one council member, its voice sharp and full of warning. "You know you cannot match the strength of the council fleets. Why do you bring them here?" Lucas looked out the window at the ships, their metal shining in the distant starlight. "We do not expect to match you in size," he said. "But we are prepared. We fight for our home, for our people, and for the freedom to choose. That makes us strong in ways you cannot measure with your fleets or your weapons." The council was quiet for a moment. Then, one of them spoke slowly, almost as if tasting each word. "Your courage is unusual. Most young species would have surrendered. Most would have begged for mercy." Lucas smiled slightly. "Humanity does not know how to beg for mercy from those who threaten freedom. We ask for respect, and we will give respect in return. But we will never obey demands that take away our choices." The council members began to confer with each other, their voices rising and falling in a strange rhythm. Lucas and Claire could not understand the exact words, but the meaning was clear. The council was confused, unsure of how to respond. No species had stood before them like this. No species had refused them so calmly and firmly. And no species had ships ready to fight if needed, even with their small numbers. After a long moment, the pale green member spoke again. "You will regret this, humans. You are too young to understand the consequences of defiance. We could destroy your colonies, your fleets, and your home without a thought." Lucas's jaw tightened. He knew that fear was part of their threat, but he did not let it control him. "We understand the risk. We also know that you underestimate humanity. You expect obedience. You expect fear. You will not find either. We are ready to defend ourselves, our people, and our freedom. That is all you need to know." The council fell silent once more. Lucas could feel the weight of the room's attention, and he could feel the tension in Claire beside him. He looked out at the glowing walls and at the strange shapes of the council members. The galaxy had many powers, many forces, and many rules. But humans had their own rules. Humans had courage, choice, and the will to survive. That had never failed them before. Claire spoke again, her voice soft but strong. "We seek friendship, not war. We will work with others who respect freedom and fairness. But we will not surrender ourselves to those who demand obedience." Lucas placed a hand on her shoulder, signaling support. He knew this was only the beginning. The council would not simply accept their words. They would try to intimidate, to threaten, to test humanity's limits. But Lucas also knew that humanity had something no fleet, no council, and no species could take away: their will, their courage, their refusal to bow to power without reason. The chamber's light shifted, bathing the humans in a strange glow. The council's whispers grew louder, and some members rose from their platforms, moving closer. The humans were ready. They had trained for years, prepared for every scenario, and yet nothing could truly replicate this moment. Still, Lucas felt calm. They were not here to beg. They were here to stand. And standing was a choice they would never regret. For the first time in the council's history, a young species had refused openly and without fear. The council members had expected obedience, trembling hope, or panic. They had not expected confidence, preparation, and courage. Humanity had arrived, and they had made it clear. They would not be commanded. They would not be controlled. They would decide their own path, even in the face of the most powerful rulers in the galaxy. And in that cold, glowing chamber, Lucas and Claire realized something. The galaxy had changed the moment humans spoke the truth about themselves. Fear had no place here. Only choice and courage mattered. And humanity had both in abundance. The council chambers were quiet, but the tension was heavy. Outside the massive windows, human ships filled the space, their sleek forms reflecting distant stars. Commander Riley Carter stood on the bridge of the lead ship, the Endurance, scanning the Council's fleet beyond. His eyes were sharp, his hands steady. The humans had come prepared. They were ready to defend Earth in every colony that depended on them. Riley had trained for years for situations like this. His fleet was smaller than the Council's, but it was well coordinated and disciplined. Every ship, every pilot, every soldier knew their role. He knew the Council expected fear. They expected humans to surrender, to plead, to beg. That would not happen. Not now, not ever. On the Council's side, murmurs rippled through the ranks. The alien delegates were not used to being refused, and certainly not with confidence. Some whispered in their strange language. Others moved closer to their viewing platforms, trying to get a better sense of the humans' intentions. One thing was clear. The humans were calm, organized, and unafraid. Back in the Council chamber, Claire Morgan stood beside Captain Lucas Ward. "They will try to push us," she said softly, her voice steady. "We have to remain firm," Lucas nodded. "We cannot let them intimidate us. Humanity does not bow to threats." Remember that. A Council member, its skin a deep shade of violet, floated slightly above the platform. Its voice echoed in the chamber. "Your words are bold, human. Bold enough to risk your destruction. We offer obedience or consequences. What is your choice?" Lucas took a deep breath. "We do not obey. We choose freedom. We will work with you if respect exists. If not, we will defend ourselves." The alien's skin darkened in anger. "Do you not understand? You cannot survive alone. You are weak compared to the powers of the galaxy. Submit, and we may allow your species to continue?" Claire shook her head. "Weak is only measured by fear. We may be small, but we are united. We fight for every life in our colonies. That is our strength. You cannot take it from us." The Council members' eyes widened slightly. Other members began to murmur again. Humanity was speaking in a way no young species had ever spoken before. The Council expected fear, panic, obedience. Instead, they were met with confidence and reason. That alone was unsettling. Outside the chamber, the Council's fleet moved closer to human space. They had hundreds of ships, massive vessels filled with weapons that could destroy entire planets. Most species would have surrendered immediately. The humans, however, did not flinch. Riley's fleet moved to intercept them, forming defensive formations. Even the smallest human ships were positioned with precision, ready to protect the colonies. "Commander Carter," Lucas said, "you have the lead. Keep the fleet tight. Protect the colonies at all costs." "We cannot lose today," Riley nodded. "Understood. We are ready. They will see that humans do not surrender." The Council fleet expected easy victory. They had destroyed or intimidated every young species that resisted them. The humans, however, acted differently. Their coordination, their readiness, and their calmness created confusion. The Council's officers exchanged glances. Why did they not panic? Why did they not beg? One asked another. The humans' fleet moved as one unit. Small fighters darted between larger vessels, protecting them from attacks. Shields shimmered against energy blasts, and human engineers worked tirelessly to repair any damage instantly. The Council's ships were larger, stronger, but they were not used to opponents who would not break under fear. On the bridge of the Endurance, Riley watched the enemy movements. He smiled slightly. They think they are strong because they have numbers. They do not understand strategy or heart. That is where we are stronger. Lucas looked at him. Do not underestimate them. They are dangerous, but we know our people. That is our advantage. The Council fleet began to fire, sending powerful beams of energy toward the human ships. Humans returned fire carefully, not recklessly. Every shot was measured, every move planned. Fighters weaved between blasts, and larger ships blocked enemy energy with shields. Human tactics were strange to the Council. They did not fight like any other species the Council had faced. The humans were coordinated, precise, and unafraid of the Council's might. The first clash began. Small human fighters launched surprise attacks on the Council's larger ships, causing confusion in their ranks. Energy beams missed their targets, and some council vessels collided accidentally in the chaos. Riley's fleet moved with skill and precision, taking advantage of every mistake. For the first time, the council realized their ships could be challenged. In the council chamber, the violet-skinned member's voice shook with anger. Impossible! How can these humans withstand our power? They are supposed to fear us. Lucas stepped forward. They do not fear you. That is why they fight. Claire added, fear gives you control over most species. It does not control humanity. You expected obedience. You were wrong. The council murmured among themselves. Their confidence was shaken. They had never seen this before. The humans' courage and coordination were unlike anything they had faced. Other species watching from afar would later call this the moment. They understood humanity's true nature. Humans did not beg. Humans did not surrender. Humans stood firm, and they fought with purpose. Outside, the battle continued. Human ships were smaller, but they were fast and agile. Council vessels, larger and slower, struggled to keep up. Fighter squadrons led by Captain Maya Ellis darted through enemy fire, striking critical points on the Council's warships. Engineers on board the Endurance worked tirelessly to repair shields and weapons. Every human ship was connected, every move part of a greater plan. The Council did not anticipate such organization. Commander Carter, Lucas said, prepare for their main strike. We know it is coming. Riley nodded. We are ready. Humanity always is. A massive council ship moved toward the center of the human formation. Its weapons charged, ready to strike the human fleet and destroy the colonies behind them. Human ships moved quickly to intercept, drawing the council vessel into traps carefully planned. Energy blasts bounced off shields, and fighters attacked from all directions. The council ship could not escape. After a tense struggle, it was forced to retreat, damaged and humiliated. In the council chamber, the members were silent. Some looked shocked, others were angry. The humans had defeated one of their largest ships, and they had done it with coordination and calm. They had expected fear and panic, but the humans showed only courage. The council realized they had underestimated this species. Lucas turned to Claire. This is only the beginning. They will come again, but humanity will be ready. Claire nodded. They expected obedience. We gave them courage instead. They will remember this. The battle slowed as the council realized further attacks would be costly. Riley's fleet maintained its positions, protecting the colonies, and ensuring no harm came to civilians. Even though they were smaller, they had proven their strength through unity, strategy, and determination. A council member floated closer to the windows, staring at the human ships. Its skin was a pale blue, its voice trembling slightly. These humans, they are not afraid. They do not obey. How is this possible? Lucas spoke softly, but with firmness. They are human. We fight for each other, for freedom, for our home. Fear does not control us. Choice does. The council fell silent once more. They realized humanity was different. They were not a species that could be controlled by fear. They were not small, weak, or insignificant. They were strong in ways the council had never considered. Back on the Endurance, Riley looked at his fleet. Hold your positions. We protect every colony. We show the council that humans will never surrender. Lucas turned to Claire. This is the start of something new. They expected obedience, but humanity gave them a lesson instead. The galaxy will never be the same. Claire nodded, watching the stars outside. We did not want war, but we will not bow to threats. We stand for every human life, every choice, every future. The council fleet retreated slowly, confused and shaken. Humanity had not only defended itself, it had shown that courage and unity could overcome fear and intimidation. In that moment, the galaxy began to take notice. Humans were not weak. Humans were not obedient. Humans were a force to be respected. Lucas looked at Riley and the human fleet. This is only the beginning. The council will return, but they will never expect the same from us again. Riley nodded, a small smile forming. They thought fear would control us. It did not. They thought numbers would defeat us. They were wrong. Humanity will survive, no matter the challenge. Claire added softly, "We came to speak and to learn. But we have also shown the galaxy our truth. Humans will never be ruled without choice. That is who we are." As the Council fleet disappeared into the distance, the human ships formed a perfect line, showing strength, unity, and readiness. The stars shone around them, a reminder of the endless possibilities ahead. Humanity had taken its first stand in the galaxy, and it had done so with courage, wisdom, and the unwavering belief in freedom. The Council had expected obedience. Humanity had given something far greater, proof that courage, unity, and the will to survive could change the course of history. And for the first time in generations, the galaxy would have to rethink its assumptions about the young species from Earth. The Council retreated slowly from human space, but their anger simmered like a storm beneath the calm surface. They had underestimated humanity, and that mistake had cost them pride and credibility. Back on Earth, Lucas Ward stood on the bridge of the Endurance, watching the last of the Council's ships disappear into the darkness of space. Even in retreat, they were dangerous. He knew this was only the beginning. "Commander Carter," Lucas said, turning to the fleet leader, "prepare for another wave. They will test us again." Riley Carter nodded. "Understood, sir. We will be ready." Humanity is always ready. The human fleet had proven that even smaller numbers could defeat a larger, more experienced force. Their tactics were sharp, precise, and effective. Each pilot, each crew member, knew that the survival of humanity depended on their skill, courage, and unity. They had faced the Council's first strike, and they had survived. But they also knew the Council would return, seeking to reclaim their lost pride. Meanwhile, on the Council's homeworld, the atmosphere was tense. Members of the Council gathered in a massive chamber, their glowing forms shifting color as they argued. The violet-skinned member spoke first. "This species is dangerous. They are reckless, and they are strong in ways we did not understand." Another member, pale and elongated, replied, "We cannot underestimate them. Their courage is not weakness. It is a weapon we cannot predict." A third member, dark and shimmering, added, "We must strike again, but carefully. Their fleets are smaller, but their strategy is precise. They will fight for every life in their colonies. That is unusual for a young species." Back in human space, the fleet moved with precision. They had spent months preparing for this encounter, studying the Council's tactics and adapting to their technology. Every ship had a purpose, every pilot a role. Even the smallest fighters were essential in the larger plan. Riley watched as his squadron moved into formation. "Keep your positions tight. Watch each other's backs. They will try to divide us, but we do not break. We are stronger together." Lucas turned to Claire. "It is not just strategy that makes them strong. It is the willingness to fight for each other. That is why they will survive." Claire nodded. "And why the Council will never expect the same from any other species again." The Council returned in force several days later. This time, they were careful. Their fleet was larger, and their ships were equipped with new weapons designed to break through human shields. They expected fear this time. They expected humanity to hesitate, to make mistakes. They were wrong. As the Council fleet entered human space, human pilots were already in position. Fighter squadrons led by Captain Maya Ellis flanked the larger ships, creating layers of defense. Shields hummed across the fleet, absorbing energy blasts from Council ships. Human engineers worked tirelessly to repair any damage, ensuring no weakness remained. The first exchange of fire was intense. Council weapons were powerful, capable of destroying entire ships with a single blast. But human ships moved with speed and precision. Fighters weaved through energy beams, striking Council vessels at weak points. Even when a human ship was hit, the crew worked quickly to stabilize systems, often returning to the fight within minutes. Riley Carter shouted over the comms, "Hold steady. Protect the colonies. Every move counts." The Council was confused. Humans did not panic. They did not retreat. Each time a Council ship advanced, human ships intercepted it, turning the Council's strength against them. One by one, the larger vessels struggled to adjust to humanity's unusual tactics. They were strong, but the humans were clever, and coordinated. Inside the council chamber, members watched the battle unfold. Their skin shifted color with anger and disbelief. "How can this be?" asked the violet-skinned member. "They are supposed to be weaker. They are supposed to surrender." Another council member whispered, "Their courage is extraordinary. Their unity is extraordinary. Perhaps we underestimated them too much." Meanwhile, human pilots pressed the advantage. Small squadrons carried out surprise maneuvers that disrupted the council's formations. Larger human ships launched coordinated strikes on critical points, targeting weapons systems and engines. One council vessel, massive and feared, was forced to retreat after repeated attacks by human fighters. Lucas stood on the bridge, watching the battle unfold. They expected fear. They expected obedience. They found neither, he said. They expected weakness. They found strength, Claire added. And they underestimated humanity's willingness to fight for each other. The council fleet regrouped, trying to adjust to human tactics. But humans had already anticipated their moves. Intelligence teams had studied previous encounters, learning how the council reacted under pressure. Human ships moved like clockwork, each action deliberate and precise. Riley's voice came over the comms. "Form defensive circles around the colonies. Let them see that humanity protects its own." The council's ships were powerful, but the humans' unity and courage created a wall they could not break. Every council attack was met with a human counterattack, calculated and deliberate. Human engineers repaired shields and weapons even as they were under fire, and human pilots risked everything to protect weaker ships. During a tense moment in the battle, a council ship fired a massive energy blast toward a colony. Maya Ellis led a squadron of fighters to intercept it. The fighters flew directly into the blast, using their ship's shields to absorb part of the energy and redirect it away from the colony. The maneuver was risky, but it worked. The colony remained safe, and the council ship was damaged in the process. Inside the council chamber, shock turned to fear. Members whispered among themselves, their confidence shaken. "They fight for each other in ways we do not understand," said one. "We cannot simply overpower them. Every strike is countered." Lucas watched the battle with calm determination. This is how humanity fights. Not for power, not for conquest, but for each other. That is why we are stronger than they expect. As the battle continued, council ships began to retreat. Their formations were broken, their confidence shattered. The humans had defended every colony, repelled the larger fleet, and shown that courage and unity could overcome overwhelming odds. Riley Carter breathed a sigh of relief. "They expected obedience," he said. "They got resistance. They expected weakness. They found strength." Claire smiled slightly. "And they will never forget it. Humanity has proven that fear does not control us. And strength is not just about numbers or weapons. It is about courage, unity, and choice." Lucas nodded. "The council underestimated us. That will be their greatest mistake." The human fleet returned to their stations, ready for any further attacks. Engineers worked on repairs, pilots rested briefly before their next patrol, and communication teams ensured that every colony was safe and connected. Humanity had survived the council's first real test, and they had done so without hesitation, without fear, and without surrender. In the council chamber, debate continued. Some members argued for retreat and negotiation. Others wanted to return with even greater force. One member, pale and elongated, spoke slowly. "We cannot treat this species like the others. They are unpredictable. They are dangerous. Perhaps we should seek dialogue instead of destruction." Another member, dark and shimmering, shook its head. "Dialogue is possible, but only if they respect us. They have refused to obey. That is unprecedented. They have changed the rules." Back in human space, Lucas and Claire prepared to communicate with the council. They had shown strength in battle, but they also wanted to open the door for negotiation. Humans did not seek war. They sought respect, freedom, and fair cooperation. Claire activated the communication system. "Council members," she said, her voice calm and firm, "we have defended our people and our colonies. We have shown that humanity will not surrender or obey threats. But we do not wish for war. We seek cooperation, fairness, and mutual respect. Let this be the start of a dialogue, not continued conflict." The council chamber was quiet. Members whispered among themselves, debating how to respond. For the first time, a young species had not only survived an attack by the council, but had also demanded respect. The galaxy was watching. Lucas looked at Claire. They expected fear. They expected obedience. They found neither. And that is why humanity has a future in this galaxy. Claire nodded. We have shown them who we are. The council will never underestimate humanity again, Riley Carter added, and if they come again, we will be ready. Humanity fights for each other, and that cannot be broken. Not by threats, not by numbers, and not by power. The human fleet stood ready, calm, and united. The colonies were safe, for now, and humanity had made its mark. The council had underestimated them, but that mistake would be remembered. Humans did not obey without question. Humans did not bow to power. Humans fought for their freedom, their people, and their future. And in the silence after the battle, Lucas, Claire, and Riley knew one thing for certain. This was only the beginning. The galaxy had met humanity, and humanity had shown its true strength. Courage, unity, and the will to survive were far more powerful than any council could imagine. The stars outside the human fleet twinkled with possibility. The council had been challenged, and humanity had stood firm. That moment would echo across the galaxy, inspiring hope, respect, and perhaps fear in those who underestimated the young species from Earth H.